every person's reasons for dropping out are a little bit different, and there's combinations of factors, but generally I believe people that lose their interest in school is due to a lack of connection or relationship with people that have power in the school.
When I kind of went to school, I just kind of felt like I was wasting my time there, because I always just thought like I could just go and Google everything and get all the answers, and like I always just go on test days and I still managed to pass, even though I'd like show up like once a week. So I don't know, I thought this school was kind of stupid because of that. But that's essentially why I dropped out in grade 10 or 11, I think.
Mostly the contributing factors to me dropping out were probably mainly just lack of motivation and substance abuse and peer association, you know, the crowd I was hanging out with.
The system that requires people to kind of follow rules and keep still in a classroom indoors and go through a schedule doesn't work for everybody, and that's the diversity that we celebrate. Also, our structure of our society is set up so that when you're an adult at 18, it's less supportive to be a student and more supportive for you to enter the workforce. So some teenagers that aren't getting confidence in their schoolwork would drop out to get confidence in the workforce.
Yes, I have done online education and I've done a lot of stuff relating to computers. I mean, like technically right now I even have kind of a job in computers. I also do some freelance work, and I mean I would consider myself actually somewhat successful considering I'm a dropout, but I would have done way better had I stayed in school, and I'd be able to do a lot more right now if I had a couple things under my belt.
I'm not saying they should drop out, but you know, under certain circumstances, everybody goes through their own trials and ordeals, right? So if things aren't working out and at the time you can't finish your schooling, maybe wait till a time when it's better, you know, when you have more of the motivation and more of the will and the dedication to get it done.
Finding what makes students or children or youth come alive, finding what their inspiration is, what they stay up at night thinking about, that's a thing to hook into the education system to prevent dropouts. It's taking whatever inspires whomever and riding with that.
In the curriculum as it is, the school system does support people to a certain extent, but there could be a little more of a adapted individual way for people to learn. I mean, someone might excel better in certain subjects. They might learn easier by looking at the board, reading, you know, they're a visual learner or they're an auditory learner. But some people really have to be hands-on and have to be involved in what's going on, right? They have to be connected. There has to be something going on.
I've thought about this a lot. I've talked about this with a lot of people. This is something I have wondered about a lot. And like the only real way is like everybody's a different type of learner, and you really have to tailor it to every kid individually. You can't have a system that works for everybody, right? And that's why I can't even really answer your question. It has to be individualized for every person.
With proper advocacy on the behalf of the student, the parent, and the teacher, and the administration, there can be a team approach to every individual student, that they have what they need with understanding. And that's happening already. And there's a lot of movement, and I'm inspired by what I've seen in the last few years with the education improvements to take these approaches with youth, students, at earlier and earlier interventions. So our dropout rates are going down according to Statistics Canada, but they could be zero. That's an attainable thing.
I've never been diagnosed, but everybody tells me I have ADHD. But I don't really think I do. I think it's just an excuse if I were to say I did, but everybody tells me I do.
And I was diagnosed with a learning disability as well as ADHD. I think it's attention deficit hyperactive disorder or something, so it's hard for me to sit still, you know.
A learning disability, dyslexia, or what people call ADHD, just really vibrating with their body, and it's all they can do to focus on keeping still, let alone listening, let alone absorbing the full message and then integrating it and synthesizing it with everything that you've already learned. That's actual effective, efficient learning.
There's a program called Be the Change. It's about like bullying and stuff. And so they wanted a logo for it. So I was drawing like graffiti, I was drawing Be the Change. And then these kids, they just ripped up my drawing. And so got into a physical altercation. I mean, I started hitting the one kid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been discriminated against for being white. I mean, like, I'm sure it's like that for a lot of people. I mean, never anything really that bad, nothing that's ever bothered me.
And then the other two, they were hitting me and stuff. And then the teacher came along, and to restrain me. And so me and the teacher kind of went at it a little bit, right? And that was a very negative experience.
And then there's that flashpoint where there's like a tussle or a physical altercation or a yank or a pull or a trip or, you know, something that often a teacher could deny. And of course, because they're afraid. Because if they admit that they did something to a kid, that's their career they'd be afraid of. And that's the Department of Education and a lot of liability stuff, and there's lawyers, and it blows up, and it could end up in the media spun again. And so it's a big unknown. So of course, for a teacher, it's far easier to deny it than it is to acknowledge it and apologize.
I don't know, I guess I've had a few people bully me, and like, I mean, I never really cared at all. I just kind of laughed at them, never bothered me. But I mean, I'm sure it goes on for a lot of people.
Quite frankly, because me and that teacher, even though, you know, we got along good, we didn't really get along good after that. You know, I felt pretty bad. You know, I was remorseful, and he was a good teacher. You know, he was a good influence, and he always cared about the students. But I feel like our connection was kind of broken after that.
When a tipping point like a violent teacher happens, it makes a decision clear. Like, okay, well, this has been cumulative. That just happened. That makes it really explicitly clear that I'm right and they're wrong, so I'm going to press eject and quit and drop out, because now I have a really solid reason.
No, it wasn't so much the teachers, actually. I gotta say, all my teachers were really amazing, but it was more the principals and like the vice principal who decided my classes and stuff that I didn't really get along with. But actually, for the teachers, I mean, I had to say I liked all my teachers. Never had a single violent one. Cool, I mean, it kind of felt like they just kind of pushed you through, and it didn't really seem like they cared very much, and it seemed like no matter what I did, I was gonna pass.
Always a little bit of a troublemaker, that one. Therefore, we're just gonna send him off to that class with a stack of paperwork to do, and he can figure it out, right?
I learned this town is very different than most places in the world when you're out on the streets.
I can't do my taxes at home, but I'm sure glad I can do Pythagorean theorem, eh?
Like, I knew a lot of people that were doing good, but even my friends who were doing really good in school, they hated it, and I don't really feel like they were learning it. It's like they had to sit down and they just had to jam everything in their head to get it for a test, and it's like you don't really learn stuff like that, you know? It teaches you it, but then you don't really remember it, and you don't really learn exactly how to use it, you know? I think it needs to be more, well, for me anyway, I think the way I learn is having things like hands-on, you know, and like learning it by doing it rather than just kind of writing a paper about it. I don't think the current education system really adequately does anything except one type of learning. It's like, here we are, you're gonna get the work, we're gonna put stuff on the board, you gotta remember everything, write it down. And I don't really think, like, I don't learn like that, and I don't even really know many people who do. I think it's very counterintuitive the way they do it right now. And it needs to work for all people, and like, as I was saying earlier, that's kind of why it needs to be tailored for every individual. And that's why the problem with creating a good education system is so complicated and challenging. That's why we still haven't done it today, but I mean, here we are taking the steps to figure out why, so that's good.
Actually, having your diploma helps a lot when you're looking around for jobs, you know? Finding a job without a diploma is pretty hard. You're gonna end up working maybe at like Superstore or McDonald's. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but then also if you wanna excel and go maybe towards a career, you're gonna need your education.